World 6-day weather forecast starting off with sunny conditions, bay and inland after the morning clouds burn back to the coast. Highs 60s at the ocean, 70s and 80s around the bay, near 90 inland. Tonight mostly clear with clouds increasing overnight and some patchy fog. Lows in the 50s. Tomorrow similar to today but a little bit cooler with inland highs reaching into mid-80s for, the period through Monday. Mostly sunny once again. Highs 60s to near 90 inland, and for Tuesday and Thursday, not much change except the warming trend will begin with highs inland ranging from the upper 80s to low 90s. Traffic and weather together on the 8s and All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
KCBS News Time 7:51. Fernie Beyer and Vivian Bosu Skinner are at the KCBS editor's desk. The California GOP is making school boards a big focus for this year's midterm elections, and the filing deadline for some board seats in the November elections was extended through today. For more on all of this, we're joined on the KCBS Ring Central Newsline by our insider Phil Matier. Phil, thank you as always. Why focus on school board seats?
Well, it's an interesting place to start. First of all, school board members have a lot of say in what goes on in the public schools, and that in turn gets getting increased interest by parents and voters in general. For example, State Assemblyman Matt Haney out of San Francisco started off as a school board member, then went on to the Board of Supervisors, and he's not alone in that sort of trajectory. We see that around mayors, council members, and, moving up the chain, starts off at the Board of Education. Until recently, it's been pretty much a nonpartisan battle, dominated by Democrats on both sides, with the biggest issue being whether or not to have more charter schools, school choice. Up till now, also, it's not going over all that well with the public in some ways. I mean, most parents with their feet, and last year, 110,000 fewer students moved into California public schools. They built the school system. That's been an ongoing trend since 2014. And now Republicans are trying to harness that sort of frustration or parental problems with their local school boards over both COVID and what they see as cultural issues with something they call the Parent Vote program, where they're going to be they've been recruiting and training online people to run for their local school boards.
And we've seen this elsewhere as part of the Republican strategy from the ground up to build your way into higher positions, but it's also garnered
transgender and things like that are dominating cable news. You're absolutely right, Eric. The culture wars have become a new focus in the schools. So we have the culture wars plus the COVID reaction. You combine those in there, and you have this toxic, or at least debatable, honestly debatable, issues. San Francisco, the most progressive city in the country in many regards, recently recalled for both COVID and what they saw cultural and academic issues. It's an interesting thing. When you talk, I talk to different groups around the Bay Area at different times, and I often ask for a show of hands. And just about everybody in the room has an opinion about Donald Trump, about Nancy Pelosi up there. You can ask them who their congressperson is, and about half the room answer. You ask them who their city council person is, about a quarter maybe. You ask them who's the school board that has the most effect over their kids, and barely a hand rolls up, because people haven't been paying attention to it. Now, it looks like it's becoming the new focal point for both the Republicans and, I bet, the California Teachers Association as well. It'll be an interesting year.
All right, Phil, we thank you as always. That's KCBS insider Phil Matier this afternoon with Patty Rising and Brett Burkhart at 5:50. We are on to the Money Watch now with Jason Brooks. Housing markets in the spotlight, and he's got the details.
Melissa, mortgage rates eased lower last week, although that did little to boost demand in the housing market, with home sales down to a 2-year low. Refi applications down more than 80% from a year ago. Freddie Mac reports that the 30-year fixed rate was down 9 basis points from the prior week to 5.13%, well off April highs, but still about double the level from a year ago. Sales of previously owned homes have slumped to a 2-year low after falling nearly 6% in July from June. And overall mortgage demand has fallen to its lowest level since 2000, with refi applications by more than 80% from a year earlier. Market right now mixed as the NASDAQ and S&P have just rallied into positive territory. NASDAQ up 10 points, S&P gaining 2. The Dow, however, down by 63 points, and that's in spite of strong earnings from Cisco
sccfreebacks.org for more information. Thanks for making our county a safer place.
Is your backyard a mess? But are embarrassed about the condition of your yard? It's time to call Mr. Pavers. Mr. Pavers can transform your backyard into your own personal paradise. You can get outside, enjoy the sunshine, fresh air, and nature in your own private sanctuary. From backyard patios to pool decks, outdoor kitchens, and driveways, Mr. Pavers can design and create your dream hardscape. And you'll be surprised at how affordable it is without sacrificing quality. Mr. Pavers is Diamond certified and an ICPI installer. Book a job before the end of the month, and you will receive 20% off. And free demolition. Call Mr. Pavers at 833-MR-PAVERS. That's 833-MR-PAVERS, or go to MrPavers.com. Make your outdoor spaces comfortable and stylish as your interior with Mr. Pavers. Call right now. 833-MR-PAVERS. 833-MR-PAVERS. Pavers.com today. Get out of the house and enjoy all that your beautiful outdoor living space has to offer with Mr. Pavers.
KCBS News Time, 7:58. We are back with Kim Wonderly. She is coming to us from your local Honda dealer traffic center. Mostly slow traffic we're talking about, Melissa, but Napa County, this is still really rough. There was an early crash on Highway 12, and it was eastbound at Kelly Road. It was blocking the intersection for a while. It's been outside is the side that's been paying for it in time. We have a long line of slow traffic trying to reach Highway 29. It's backed up almost to Spurs Trail, so this is a real tough one. In the meantime, we're looking at Interstate 80. Heavy traffic out of Rodeo this morning. This is as slow as we've seen the East Shore Freeway, considering there's been really no problems on it. So it's slow pockets all the way down into Berkeley this morning. The 580 merge coming out of Richmond eastbound is backed up to Bayview. Pretty solid coming aboard here. And we're also looking at delays at the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge from Harbor Way getting aboard. Your next update is at 8:08 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Clouds burning back to the coast. We're looking at highs ranging from the 60s at the ocean to the 70s and 80s around the bay to near 90 inland. So it won't be as hot as it was yesterday when we needed that flex alert because air conditioners were flipping on all over the Bay Area. It's on KCBS.
It is Thursday, August 18th, 2022, coming up on KCBS.
Lake Merritt in Oakland, where many are asking why the lake has suddenly turned a brownish red.
To Wall, California is pre-positioning crews to quickly respond if a fire sparks.
The old adage, throw everything but the kitchen sink.
And a guilty plea expected from a former Trump financial officer.
CBS News is next. When you need to know. CBS AM, KFRC, and HD1, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, and 8 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I'm Steve Gates, and former Trump Organization CFO Alan Weisselberg has just pleaded guilty. CBS News legal contributor Rebecca Royfe says the deal means he'll testify at the company's trial.
He is not going to implicate or any of Trump's family members in this scheme, but he will implicate the serious because it essentially ensures a conviction of those organizations, and a criminal conviction often beats essentially kind of.
Weisselberg was given 5 months in jail, 5 probation, and he'll have to put $2 million in fines in Texas. Arguments later today on the media effort to get the Trump search warrant affidavit unsealed. Legal analyst Ricky Cleveland says the Justice Department insists too much detail going public could jeopardize the investigation.
They would like to keep that secret. Now, things happen in court that don't often happen on the paperwork. So it is possible, and I underline possible, that there may be a compromise where some of the affidavit is public, but only, I think, if the Justice Department wants it.
The government says an additional 1.8 million doses of monkeypox vaccine are headed into the pipeline. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says a greater effort is going to be made to get vaccine and information to cities with large LGBT.
While we are offering the vaccine at these events to those at high risk, this is a 2-dose vaccine series, and receiving the vaccine at these events will not provide protection at the event itself.
Yesterday, Walensky ordered an agency overhaul of the CDC in the wake of infectious disease specialist Dr. Celine Gounder on CBS Mornings.
Acknowledging the weaknesses. Not everything went right really does pave the way for people at the CDC as well as more broadly to change direction, to correct course, and to do better in the future.
Well, heading back to school, the National Retail Federation says families can expect to pay an average of $864 on supplies. CBS's Adriana Diaz.
The nonprofit Back to School America gave out more than 8,000 supply kits. CEO Matt says the need for the kits has never been greater. What single product has gone up most in price?
Paper is costing us the most money.
Janila Costing, whose daughter's about to start first grade, says there's also sticker shock in stores.
For a few school supplies, you're easily going to spend around $70 or something.
Checking Wall Street, the Dow is down. CBS News.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. To learn more.
It is 8:03 at the Bay Area's news station KCBS. A lot of sunshine expected once the overcast.
And I'm Eric Thomas.
Here is what's happening.
The pre-positioning of fire crews during critical fire weather has become a common practice for many Bay Area agencies. Now, the state is following suit. As KC
California counties, as well as the city of Chico. The Bay Area County, that presence has only expanded this morning.
The old adage, throw everything but the kitchen sink, it truly works with this pre-positioning program. It puts more firefighters and fire engines on that first initial call.
Brian Marshall, he's fire and rescue chief for Cal OES. He says the support not only comes in the form of fire engines, water tenders, but dispatchers. If a fire sparks, Marshall says the crews are monitoring the weather, will be stationed when a system hits and after it passes.
As the lightning has struck a tree, burst into flames right away as they smolder and then become a fire.
The heat advisory remains in effect for many of the valleys. Reporting live, Mike DeWalt, KCBS.
Thank you, Mike. The battle continues against the and Trinity counties. The fire, which started nearly 2 weeks ago as 12 separate lightning-sparked blazes in the Six Rivers National Forest, now has burned more than 26,000 acres, but crews have managed to get it to 33% contained. Meanwhile, in Siskiyou County near Eureka, the 60,000-acre McKinney fire now is 95% contained, and the nearly 8,000-acre Yeti fire near Happy Camp west of the McKinney fire is 90% contained, and the Oak fire in Mariposa County is fully contained.
don't go health officials after Oakland's Lake Merritt suddenly turned an unsightly brown color. I'm going to call that ugly brown color. As KCBS's Matt Bigler reports live from Lake Merritt, it may be related to an algae bloom that's spreading across the bay. Matt?
Over the last couple of weeks, I have noticed the water looking, as you said, ugly, yucky, reddish brown. Daily dog walker Jessica Ekstrom says she's also noticed and in the past.
Maybe in certain times of summer, it would have moments of being extra pungent, but lately it's been pretty consistent that it's been bad.
Algae bloom, something that Pete DeQuincy with the East Bay Regional Parks District says they've been dealing with a lot during the drought. It has to do with the amount of water that's flowing through the system, and the amount of nutrients that are continuing to go into those systems. That has a major factor along with the heat. And so there's lots of things that are going on. The Alameda County Environmental Health Department is advising contact with the water until they know exactly what this microorganism is and what's causing it. Meanwhile, brownish water has also been spotted in other locations around the bay, and it may all be related. Lake Merritt is actually a tidal lagoon connected to the bay waters. At Bigler, KCBS.
Oakland police have increased patrols in the downtown area on weekends. KCBS's enforcement means vendors have to stay off Broadway.
Violence has been on the rise with two recent murders.
I made the decision to increase enforcement in the downtown area
to limit traffic in that area as well, to have a greater presence in the downtown area.
Police Chief LaRon Armstrong says they arrested 2 people at an unlicensed pop-up, confiscating drugs and 2 guns.
Keep a heavy presence in the downtown, limit vehicular traffic in the downtown. We believe that will limit the number of people who bring into our downtown area, causing obviously violence to occur.
But this means food trucks that park on Broadway have to move. David works at the Ben Hibachi Japanese Grill.
People see you park right here and like post up to start your food, and you move somewhere else, no one's gonna know where you go. So you're gonna go out of business.
In Oakland, CBS.
Just ahead on. I'm Holly Kwong. UC Regents mull over blocking UCLA's plan to bail from the. KCBS News Time 8:08. Let's head over to your local Honda dealer's traffic center. Get an update on the drive this morning with Kim Wonderly. Mainly, it's just heavier than usual, Melissa. We're taking a look at traffic at the bridges. This report brought to you by the Richmond San Rafael Bridge as part of the Pacific Private Money Bridge report. We are backed up beyond Harbor Way, so that actually is thinned out a bit, but it's pretty solid to the toll plaza. Once you're on the span heading to Marin, you're at the speed limit. Bridge, it's been backed up through the MacArthur Maze since very early this morning, so a different traffic pattern is forming here. Out to the metering lights, a little bit of slowing coming off at Fremont Street. And on the San Mateo Bridge, I'm still finding some slow traffic. There was a stalled boat trailer off to the right-hand shoulder. This was a little bit before the high-rise. I still see some brake lights heading out that way with the Chilton Auto Body collision cam. So not completely smooth to the Foster City side, not yet. Dumbarton Bridge, it wins because there's no delay at the toll plaza, no delay getting over to the peninsula. Well, Pacific Private Money can help bridge the financial gap between selling your current home and securing your new home. Find out more at pacificprivatemoney.com. Your next update, 8:18 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Seeing some sun breaks over the financial district of San Francisco right now. It's going to be sunny at the Bay and inland after the morning clouds burn back to the coast. Highs from the 60s to the 70s and 80s around the Bay, near 90 inland, so cooler than yesterday, and we're on that sort of trend tomorrow. The skies will look similar to today, but it'll be even cooler with inland highs struggling to get into the mid-80s. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
Hey, A's fans, we've got a great deal for you. Get 4 tickets and parking for all Friday night games starting at just $39. Pick from great matchups, post-game fireworks and drone shows, giveaways, and head to the Coliseum with friends and family any Friday night this season. 4 tickets and parking starting at just $39 for the whole group. Tickets are available at athletics.com. That's athletics.com.
Wash, brought to you by Ring Central. This is Neil, your eye on traffic, and today looks like a doozy. You want